Welcome to the Brag Effect, where we share easy to understand customer service tips from business owners and leaders that will help you get your customers bragging about you in all the right ways. Hi, I'm Mike Wells, and together with my co-host Michelle Adams. Hey Michelle.
Hi Mike.
Our big thanks for joining us.
Today our guest comes from Luxury Escapes. It's an Australian tech success story. In fact, it's one of Australia's largest e-commerce businesses and one of the fastest growing travel websites on the planet. With some of the world's best known and loved brands on board, Luxury Escapes is changing the way millions of people book and experience their holiday. They were also voted one of Australia's coolest places to work in the 2018 Australian Travel Awards. Jason Shugg is Luxury Escapes' Chief Customer Officer. And for the last 2.5 years, he's been responsible for leading their global customer strategy, marketing, and communications approach through the company's global expansion across 4 continents, all while launching new global products into markets like the US. Jason has decades of experience holding strategy and marketing leadership roles for brands that include Melbourne Racing, Lonely Planet, The Age, Census, and as head of customer strategy for Bupa, where he helped that company move to #1 market position in Australia. Being a regular commentator on customer experience, he is a marketing and customer experience industry leader, and we are very excited to be having a chat with him today. Let's jump in. Jason, so excited to have you today and to be able to spend some time with you to talk about customer-centric business and, your role and the impact that you've had to help Luxury Escapes and many businesses grow. So thank you so much for your time today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So tell me, Chief Customer Officer, what does that role mean? And walk me through your sort of day-to-day.
Sure. I'm not sure there is a regular day-to-day, certainly when you work for a travel business in the middle of a global pandemic, but I'll do my best. So the role is responsible for a lot of the demand at Luxury Escapes here. So by that, I mean the marketing, the content. We don't really use advertising agencies or marketing agencies. We do most of it ourselves internally, and that's for the Australian business and the international business. So whilst Luxury Escapes is homegrown and an Australian company, we do have offices around the world, and so we sell our deals, our products to overseas customers as well. So my role is responsible for that, and I've got a team in various markets internationally, and then a team here as well. So the day-to-day really is around how do we continue to grow the business in Australia that's been very successful since it launched 8 years ago. How do we grow, increase more members or more subscribers, and then obviously leading through to sales. And then internationally, it's how do we increase awareness? So we've got really low awareness in a lot of our markets, so we're starting from scratch. And so the way that we do it is a lot of digital marketing, a lot of kind of great customer experience, a lot of partnerships. And so it's working through what those are. So try to focus as much on the bigger, longer term initiatives as I do the day-to-day bushfires. And, there's always, the things that you need to look at today's or yesterday's sales numbers, and how you're going to try and implement something to get them better today and the day after and the day after. So it's a real mix around long-term strategy and then short-term performance.
So it's interesting you talked about marketing and the customer experience or service kind of. Do you see these departments as kind of being very connected these days compared to what they used to? It's almost like, you used to see customer experience or customer service teams as one department, and then you'd see the marketing department or sales and marketing is separate. It feels like today they're very much weaving into the same remit.
Yeah, and ours very much are. So we've got around 280 people, I believe, at Luxury Escapes. So we're a growing business. We're not a massive business, and so it's really important that everybody works together here. So the marketing guys and the customer experience guys sit next to each other. They deal daily, particularly over the last 18 months with COVID. So a lot of the work the marketing guys are the ones that communicate with the customers en masse. The customer experience team are the ones that communicate with the customers kind of one-to-one. And so those things had to work hand in glove. So, we've dealt with a lot of challenges around moving bookings and refunds, etc. And so, those teams have worked amazingly well together to ensure that we can look after the customer, who's the most important constituent at the end of the day, and help them with their needs, be it, booking holidays or changing holidays.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have to obviously talk about the impact of, what's going on around us right now. And, I just want to acknowledge that the hit the travel industry's had as a result of, COVID in the last, say, 18 months. How has Luxury Escapes managed to adjust?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's been a real challenge for all the travel industry. I think we were the first to see it happening back in February last year because we deal with international markets. So we could see what was happening internationally, and so we started readying the ship here for the pandemic if it happened, and then it probably hit us a lot harder and a lot quicker than what most people thought. There's a couple of practical things we've done. So the first thing that we did was effectively turn the business into a customer service business. And so by that, I mean, we had to help all our customers move the majority of their travel bookings. So we had something like 90,000 bookings that we had to move. And so in the first few days, the phone lines to the contact centre were a meltdown. And this is where the marketing team and the tech team and the contact centre worked incredibly well. So because we don't have a massive amount of legacy infrastructure here and we can move really quickly because we're digital, what that enabled us to do was to develop some really cool tech very quickly that enabled a lot of customers to move their own bookings as opposed to having to ring up the contact centre, which you had to do for most travel brands or for airlines. And so that took a huge relief out of the contact centre and also for the customers that they could actually self-manage. And then we used the marketing tools like, our email marketing to communicate directly with customers and enable them to do that. So that was a big win. Then we had the marketing team, the accounting team, etc., on social media. So we just had a lot of people that were trying to help customers through all our channels. So people were triaging social media, queries that we were getting and helping the customer again kind of move or cancel their booking. And so that lasted for probably 4 or 5 months. So it was a real team effort, and including me, we were on the tools every day. Then from a business performance point of view, really quickly we needed to move from being a company that focused a lot on international travel to domestic travel. And whilst we had amazing deals domestically, pre this, we didn't, it was an important focus, but it wasn't our sole focus. So very quickly we moved to growing our deal-based and our relationships in Australia. And so now we're doing almost predominantly Australian-based deals. So be that deals in Queensland, West Australia, Victoria, etc., which do make it hard when these lockdowns keep kind of springing up. So that was a massive pivot for the business, given that the vast majority of our revenue came from international, which has evaporated and looks like it will stay that way for at least the next 6 or so months. So it's been a real journey.
And so do you find that consumers are and your customer base are nervous about booking travel?
Oh, it's funny that they're actually less nervous. So we see a really familiar pattern now when a city goes into lockdown. What it generally does is it impacts bookings everywhere for about 48 hours, and then it kind of swings back to for everyone apart from the people that are in lockdown, it swings back to the new normal again. And then for those in the lockdown, it usually takes a few more days. So I think people are becoming resilient now around the fact that they've got to live their lives and they can't just, not book travel or not plan to go away just because there's a risk of a lockdown. I think customers are also, and certainly our customers, understand that if that happens, that we will support them really quickly, and we've got the processes to do that now, so they can change their bookings or they can, cancel their bookings or whatever it might be. So there's a fair degree of confidence that I can get out of it. But the vaccine is going to be the thing that will change all that. So that's the determinant, I think, as to when we can all have a more freer life again.
And do you find too that the whole work from home has also then meant, say, extended longer stays with bookings?
It's actually changed the way that people book. So what we've had is we've had a lot more local travel. So be that, I mean, Sydney-siders travelling in and staying in New South Wales. So in a way, we've seen a lot more shorter breaks, and that's because there is a bit of wariness about the borders, and so people are staying close from home. But what we are seeing is we're seeing people blend kind of business and leisure into a vacation. So the school holidays are a great example, and we've got some people here that are travelling, interstate with their family, but they're still working because it's become more of a social norm now that you can effectively work from anywhere for a lot of roles, and certainly office-based roles. You can. So that's probably the pivot that we're seeing.
And so you mentioned earlier when we were chatting about you referred to Luxury Escapes as a tech company. I thought that was really interesting because when you look at, say, disruptors like Airbnb, how does Luxury Escapes position itself, and why do you say you're a tech company as opposed to a travel company?
Well, I think we both, and we do interchange them a lot. So we are, because the business is largely a digital business, and it really has disrupted the travel industry when it started 8 years ago. And there's been a few brands that have kind of followed suit now. But because of what we do, we have to make sure that we've got a really strong tech offering, because that's the way that most people do engage with us. So we're investing really heavily in that to automate as much as we can, to have a seamless customer experience. And we don't use the word omni-channel often, but effectively that's what it is. So we've got an app that's evolving at the moment, we've got a website, and then we've got the contact centre. And so we're relatively agnostic around how people contact us. But for us, if we're not elite at tech and we're not playing in that space, then we're going to fall behind. We're really confident that we've got amazing salespeople who go out there and create the deals. So we're different because our deals are handcrafted. So almost all the deals that you see, the travel deals that you see on Luxury Escapes are done, from a one-on-one perspective. So we negotiate directly with the hotel, we negotiate inclusions, extra pieces of luxury for the customer, and then we package them up. And so that's what makes our brand really special.
So that's interesting because, I was going to say to you, when you look at the traditional travel agent, you've moved that to an online, so pure OTA, online travel agency that is offering that one-on-one customer customized experience that you would normally, say, traditionally go into a store and meet with the travel agent. I know my partner and I traveled to Europe, luckily, before, our current situation. And we used a travel agent to help with flights, but the rest we really did on our own. And I just, it's interesting the way, your business and also the industry has had to pivot now to meet the demands of consumers.
Yeah, and they expect a lot more. And I think it's not just within travel, but if you think around, your digital footprint now, and how you deal with businesses and brands, that it is becoming so much more digital focused, and so customers expect that with whatever they do. Travel is no different. Our goal, and we're fast moving towards, is to become a one-stop shop for travel. So it is flights, it is accommodation, it's packages, it's insurance, it's local experiences, etc. And a really amazing way to deliver that is digital. Saying that, though, our contact centre is growing. It's massively important, and at any point you can hand off quite easily to the contact centre to talk to a real person, and we encourage it. So we're not like some OTAs that it's almost impossible to talk to somebody. We promote it really heavily because we're happy to have a human who sits in the office in Melbourne behind me, help you craft what your perfect travel experience is, if you prefer that, rather than do it yourself online.
Yeah. And I love your background too, by the way. It makes me feel like I am in some tropical kind of, holiday destination. So it's amazing. So I guess you really answered the next question, which is really around what makes Luxury Escapes different. So what you're saying there is that you're an all-round offering, all aspects of travel now, adding the flights and the experiences to the whole booking for a customer, a one-stop shop essentially.
Yeah, we're now working on even better kind of CX ways or UX ways to bring that together for customers. So we've got some things that we'll launch later this year that will make it really simple to plan, organise and book a trip, kind of in one space on our website or on our app. And so we think that's going to be a huge game changer for us as well. And we just focused on the customer. So, we're a brand that lives and breathes customer. It's in our values, and that's why we come to work every day.
Oh, well, we're kind of going into culture, so we might just skip there because that's a great that's one of the things I want to talk to you about. So just driving that customer-centric culture in an organisation. And I believe, congratulations on being voted Australia's one of Australia's coolest places to work in 2018 in the Australian Travel Awards. That's pretty cool. So how do you get that award? And what makes it a really cool place to work?
Yeah, and
obviously backgrounds, working in an environment like that.
And look, travel, I think by the nature travel is so, there are a few industries, and travel is certainly one of them. Probably hospitality is another, where you need to really love what you do and believe in it. And, we come to work every day and we talk around sending people to holiday in the Maldives or to far north Queensland. So it's a pretty easy backdrop in terms of the corporate meetings that you have. I think for us, a lot of it's founder-led. So one of our founders, Adam Schwab, is CEO, and so he's incredibly passionate about customer. He's here, he's hands-on, he walks around the office all day, every day, usually in his shorts and flip-flops. But he's very present and a much-loved figure in the company. And so, a lot of us take the cues from him. Our values, we've got a couple of company values, but two of them are never screw a customer and always do what's right. And so, they're on our performance reviews. So you get marked on those as much as you do on what you do. So I think those things, we, as an executive, we try and bring that to life as much as we can. And then we celebrate the wins, we celebrate the successes with, how we're kind of changing people's travel lives. We've got a really passionate traveller base that keep talking to us about what they love and what they don't love, and we take note and we try and change. So it is absolutely a key part of the culture, yeah.
And what are some of the ways that you celebrate the wins?
So we do a couple of a meeting every month, which is all staff, where we really focus on what are some of the big initiatives that the company has happened and what difference they've made to customers. We send around this, we do NPS as most businesses do, but we really focus on what are those key NPS learnings that we've got, and so good and bad. Where we've people think we've let them down sometimes, but the vast majority is the good, which is where we've surprised, delighted, where we've gone over and above, where we've really changed, someone's belief in travel or had an amazing experience. And so, we love that because it gets the team motivated and they can actually see the difference they're making. And travel is somewhere, an industry where you can see the difference you're making. I mean, you're not changing people's lives. Well, maybe you are changing people's lives, but you're creating amazing experiences. And, we believe that travel is absolutely a force for good. And so, we try and celebrate that as much as we can.
Well, I think, it definitely changes people's lives. The benefit that a break and a holiday can have on someone and then has a ripple effect on, everybody else that they impact. I think it's a great thing. In fact, I need to do it more too.
Don't we all?
So interesting, just talking about NPS. How do you, it's great to see, so many more businesses are surveying customers now, and, pretty much every, interaction that you have in a store, retail store or experience, you're receiving a text message or an email, with the NPS question, Net Promoter Score, rate us 1 to 10. So, for you, when do you find it's the right time to ask that question, first of all? And then it's great to see that you're bringing that feedback into the business and not just doing the survey and then not taking any opportunity to listen to the voice of the customer.
Yeah, and I think if you read the people that are smart in this space, the score is great, but the score is really an outcome of the comments. And so, we focus a lot on the comments and the reason for the score as opposed to the raw number. So we've got 3 levels of CSAT or NPS here. So the first is more at a brand level, and so we've just got a regular omnibus where we just we test our NPS number. Then we do it for the contact centre, so we do a post-call. So we send that to anyone that we have a call with, and we get a number from that. And then the third is post-holiday. So once a customer has returned from a trip and has had the Luxury Escapes experience, we then send them an NPS there. So our NPS numbers have held up really well over COVID. The CSAT was a challenge for a period of time there, just as we were overrun with customers, as kind of we spoke about earlier. But it's held up incredibly well, and so people love what we're doing generally. So we take that as a positive, but equally we look at the small percentage that don't, or have had negative experiences, and fix those. We contact those customers directly again if we can, if they're given us permission to, and we understand a lot more about that.
So the other thing I wanted to just talk about was really reviews. So how do you manage? So often, I mean, that's one of the benefits of surveying customers is getting their feedback and getting to them soon enough so that they feel heard. How are you managing reviews online? And is this still an important part of business growth and the strategy for you with social proof?
Yeah, it is. And yeah, again, Adam, the founder and CEO, is incredibly passionate about this. And so he gets every review sent to his email. And so he will flick those on. And so we have comments around most of those reviews each day. So we've got a team, we've got a full-time team. So we've got a team of 2 people, and that can scale up to 4 or 5. That their full-time role is to work on reviews, in terms of working on the platforms, helping us understand the positive ones, and then if we get negative ones, and again through COVID, as most travel companies did, there were reviews on there and really hard to contact you at a certain time, and so we would jump onto those straight away, and connect them back in and triage them through to our contact centre. So we manage them really proactively, because we want to make sure that if we've let a customer down, or they think we have, that we fix that as quick as we can, and then we want to understand the positive reviews as well, and then we showcase them around the website. So we're very proud of our review scores. We pipe in a lot of the comments to our deal pages, and kind of just the general website and app as well, because they're largely really positive, and we love to celebrate it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good, congratulations on such a great review score too. Yeah, it's obvious how many happy customers Luxury Escapes really does have from what you can read online. The other thing I wanted to just ask you about is repeat business for Luxury Escapes. So how important is that for you, and do you rely on that? How many times, how many touch points often would you have with a customer?
Yeah, it's absolutely, we do. I think like most businesses, repeat customers is important for us. It's also a really great indicator of success, if you like. So our view is, if a customer, yes, it's great to have a positive review. Yes, it's great to have a high NPS score. But if a customer's not coming back and booking again, then it's almost, it's not pointless, but it doesn't really mean as much. So I can't talk specific numbers, but our repeat, it's around 2. So in a normal time, people would book around 2 trips with us a year. And we've made some product enhancements over COVID. So we actually invested in product over COVID, which brings more product and more deals to the site. So we expect that number to go up significantly. One of the barriers to using us in the past was you just don't have anywhere that I want to go. So I want to go to New York. You don't have a New York deal at the moment. So we fixed that. So we'll always have deals to the major tourist places. So that's, I think that's a big win for us, and obviously the customer as well.
And so meeting expectations. I mean, this is like everyone has different expectations. And so, when it comes to setting a standard, but then how are different ways that Luxury Escapes are going over and above to wow and delight their customers?
There's a few things that we do. So we've got a group called the Platinum Club, and so these are our most frequent customers. And so it's a free club, so it's an invite only. That we treat them slightly differently. So they've got their own team that they deal with. So there's like a concierge that they can deal directly with. We do some birthday things for them. We run events for them. We send them more information. We give them more insights. We give them special offers. We give them early access to deals. So we really reward the people who have been loyal to us because we want to show that kind of loyalty back. We do other things like we've just at the moment doing a vaccine promotion. So we're giving away, we're putting around $200 million on the table. So for any Australian that started their vaccine, so you don't need to have had the second jab, just the first jab, you can register to get a $200 voucher for international travel for when that comes back. So we're giving away that. So that's something that over and above we're doing to surprise and delight our customers and bring in new customers. And it's been the media exposure and just the engagement here has been phenomenal. So it's been amazing. We've got a refer a friend program that is great. So if you refer a friend, you get a discount off your trip, they get a discount off their trip, and we're about to go a lot bigger with that. So again, we want to reward people for their goodwill. So there's some of the things that we do. But I think the core of it all is just going back to listening to what customers are telling us, understanding their feedback, and trying to get better where we need to, or just keep doing what we're doing where it's it's working well.
And so what mistakes, if any, would you say that you've learnt from?
I think the mistakes are often around going too slow or taking something for granted or not understanding well enough. So I think at the start of COVID, we probably didn't understand the level of not the level of concern for customers, but how to help them at scale. And so and that was why we developed this automated process very quickly. So was it a mistake? I'm not sure it was a mistake, but it was something that we just didn't have. And so it was hard to predict that you needed to change 90,000 bookings on one day. Like, I don't think anybody thought that would ever have to be necessary. So, was it a mistake? I'm not sure, but we very quickly figured that there was a problem and we fixed that straight away. So they're the things that we try and focus on. What are the issues that customers are having, and how do we fix them? And a great example I just used before, I think, is one of the key barriers to using us is that because we're effectively a flash deals based model in a lot of ways, is that you don't have a deal to New York, you don't have a deal to Paris when I want to book. So we've gone about changing that, and now we have thousands of deals as opposed to 70 or 80 deals at the one time.
Yeah. So so do you find people are shopping for the deal? Is it predominantly a price point now?
For us, it's price points are part of it, and values are part of it as well. But it's more value, I think. So, it's amazing when you talk to people, and we do a lot with the Platinum Club, that they'll buy one of our offers or deals, and then they'll fly business class. So it's not as though price is the determinant. It's going to the QT and Gold Coast, staying for 5 nights, but you're not just getting the hotel room, you're getting these inclusions that we've handpicked for you. So it might be a bottle of champagne on arrival, it might be cocktails every night, it might be massages. There's a raft of things that we put into each of those deals. And so not only are you getting a great price, but you're getting a lot more involved, and that's the luxurious piece of this. We want people to feel special, we want people to be pampered, we want people to come back and talk about those little added extras, which you often do. It's the cocktails before dinner every night, sitting beside the pool, that become a great memory of the trip, and that's what we want to create.
And so it's a convenience too, right, of not having to worry about all those little bits and pieces yourself, and just know that it's taken care of. Yeah,
and customers love them. They do, and it's from the the people that stay at the really high end hotels to we do some city stays that are still amazing hotels, but it might be for 3 nights as opposed to 7 nights in the Maldives, and we try and create the same experience and the same feeling for every one of those trips that we create. And the guys, the sales team, the people that negotiate these deals with hotels, they're incredibly passionate about it. They love it.
So you speak quite often to groups and lecture on, customer service and marketing strategy. Is there something that you would like to finish with in terms of advice that you would give to a business to help them become more customer centric, or be able to, be able to adjust and pivot at times like this?
That's a good question. What we do here is we're really practical and accountable. And so, and Adam, this comes from the top. Yeah. So, if we're hearing that we've disappointed a customer, we want to know why. We want to understand. We want to understand what to do better next time. So, I've been associated with businesses that have an NPS and look at the feedback, but they sit in meeting rooms. They've got some beautifully animated PowerPoint presentations about it, but it kind of goes to that deep, where they don't really go the next step, which is doing something about it. So, what we try and do here is we try and understand the pain points. We try and understand if how those pain points might be scaled up. So, more than just one or two people, and then we work out ways to fix them really quickly, and we try and move as fast as we can. Can be chaotic at times, but that's part of the fun of business, and certainly part of the fun of a tech-based travel business.
Yeah. So, I mean, gone are the days that you could kind of rely on your strategic intents and your 20-page business plan document, right? Yeah. It's just how do you plan ahead now in business?
Well, certainly if you're in the travel space, it's incredibly difficult to do that. So, we have absolutely 4 plans and, big initiatives that we're looking at, but those move and they roll as the kind of the external environment move and roll. And for us, we don't do these huge annual plans of 200 pages of PowerPoint. We don't get external consultants in. We really focus on what are the practical things and how do we make a customer's life better, and how do we set this business up continually for success.
That's fantastic. I have absolutely loved talking to you today. Thank you so much for sharing all of that wisdom.
Pleasure. It was great. Lovely to chat.
Thanks a lot, Jason.
Thanks, Michelle.
The Brag Effect is brought to you by Brag Reviews, the review management software that helps businesses improve their reputations, one review at a time. Check it out at bragreviews.com.